What is up, everybody? AscendantV here, bringing you my first deck profile on my Satellarknight deck for the November 2015 format. This deck hasn't seen a lot of play recently, mostly because, well, it's just not as good as it was before. I mean, before you had it 3 Rhoda, which we obviously don't have anymore. So it's just a little bit tougher to run, but the deck is still pretty good for what it is. In addition to that, I also started to play this deck with the Star Stars just to give it a bit more consistency. So without further ado, let's just get down to it. So I start off with 3 Deneb. He's your main searcher for the deck. His effect activates whenever he's summoned, and it's basically overall around your best card. Then you have 3 Altair. Altair's effect is that whenever he is summoned in any way, shape, or form, he can bring back any one of your deceased, or that is, rather, in your graveyard, monsters. So he's really good. But they have to be in defense position. We move on to 3 Vega. This is a personal preference of mine, because I just think that Vega is too good to not run at 3. He basically summons off another one of your monsters whenever you summon him. So like you just special summon from the hand whenever you summon him. So he's good. Or she, I don't really know. 2 Unuk. Unuk is your basically a foolish burial for the deck whenever he's summoned. So he's really good in that sense. And then lastly, we have one last Satellarknight monster, which is Sirius. You have to be like, oh, why so serious when you summon him? Because you're just like, I'm not sure if you're a really good Satellarknight player if you're running Sirius. But he's actually really good. If you have 5 or more Satellarknight monsters in the graveyard, you can activate his effect, which basically recycles them all back into the deck and then lets you draw 1 card. So he's really good. Other than that, we have the Star Seraph, which are 3 of stick, 3 of chair, and then for just general support, honest. We have the 1 Rhoda, because Rhoda is Rhoda, and we always want to run it, no matter what the case is. If we had it at more than 1, definitely run it at more than 1. But for now, let's just run him at the maximum. We have 2 upstarts because I feel like 3 is a bit excessive. We have the placeholder for the other 2 Rhodas, which right now is just Tornado. It would be MST, but I don't have access to MST at this time. So I'm just running Tornado. It's basically MST, but you can only activate it when your opponent has 3 or more spell or trap cards out on the field. So I guess it's a little bit more situational, but it's still good considering that we're in the pendulum era right now. So having at least 3 spell or traps is not unheard of. So let's see, other than that, we move on to the traps. 3-star Nova Alpha, staple. Pay the cost of 1 Satellarknight from the field, and you get to negate any spell or trap card. Just good overall. And the reason that I decided to play this deck was specifically because of Stellar Nova Alpha, and it's going to be able to be searchable with Ariadne, the Absolver, as soon as she comes out, because she lets you search out any counter trap. So Stellar Nova Alpha would just be like the perfect target to use her in. Plus she's another fairy, from what I believe, or from what I remember. So that's really good. Yeah, just run it at 3. 3 Call and 2 Oasis. They're just your revival traps. They get your effects off for your Satellarknight monsters, and it's just like good overall. The only thing about Oasis is that, well, you can't really, summon some of your monsters with it. If you're playing like like one of your warrior Xyz monsters that require warriors, you won't be able to use this to its full effect because this makes it become a worm or a dragon. No, it's a worm. Yeah, a worm. So yeah, just keep that in mind whenever you're trying to make a warrior Xyz. We have three fiendish chains. Moving on. Other than that, it's just for negation purposes. I know it's not that good this format since like nothing targets anymore, but uh, I just like running it at three. Two Xyz universe. This card's really good. It lets you bust out King Kali Yuga, who like basically negates all your opponent's pendulum zone monsters, as well as just overall like wrecking their stuff. So just run it at maximum. I just couldn't find any more space for it. But if you have three King Kali Yuga, which you guys would know I do, considering you probably saw my DDD deck profile. But I just couldn't get another Xyz universe, and I just didn't have space for it. So if you can run three, then definitely run three. But yeah. And then for the one-ofs, we have one bottomless and one solemn, which are just like mandatory in anything nowadays. So that wraps up our oh, whoops, hit the camera there. That's unfortunate. Let's see. That rounds up the main deck, which is 40. So we move on to the extra deck. We play 3 Satellarknight Trigger. He's good for recycling any Oasis of Dragon Souls, Fiendish Chains, and calls that you need. And he's overall just a really good monster because of it. Because like he bounces everything on the field back to the hand. He doesn't target though, so he's just like good for the pendulum era in my opinion. We move on to 2 Satellarknight Deltaros. He pops 2 monsters per turn if you use him in conjunction with the Star Seraphs, specifically a Scepter. So, yeah, just good. Just good all around. Because we're playing the Satellarknights, we also play the 2 Satellarknight Constellar Diamond. He's good because he lets you get off all your, he basically just gives you an extra reason to write on Ptolemaeus if you can't get him up to the maximum number of things. I don't run Ptolemaeus. That's because I don't have enough money right now to pay for him. But when I do, it's almost Christmas, hoping to get some Christmas money. So, hopefully, then, we can get the Ptolemaises. Because we are also running the Star Seraphs, I decided to run 2 Sentry. He targets, which is bad, but he also negates, which is good. And then he has the attack of the monster that he's negating. So that's just like awesome all around. And you can also stop him from being destroyed by detaching all Xyz material. So that's also good. You just have to weigh the pros and the cons, man. That's like all you can do. 2 Ragnamiad because we run a lot of warrior type monsters. And this was the card I was specifically talking about when I was talking about Oasis of Dragon Souls before. Yeah, you just need to sort of like figure out when to really use his thingamajig. When to fully utilize his abilities. For the one-ofs, for rank 4s, we run 1 Tsukumi, or Tsukuyomi. What he does is basically, he can discard your entire hand, and then draw 2 cards, by detaching the Xyz material, so that's good. Just lets you start at 0 again, or start, like, turn 1, sort of. Well, he's more like a pot of greed, actually, or graceful charity rather than anything, so... Yeah, I'm just rambling on right now. Next, we have 1 Paladin Ammo. He's good because he negates and then sets your themajigs up for doing stuff. I don't know what I'm saying at this point. But anyway, last card. King Kali Yuga, the heart and soul of the deck. He's the reason that you want to run him. He's the reason why you want to run anything in this deck. My greatest friend in the deck, because wow, that made me sound really lonely. He's just really good. And yeah, so I hope you guys like this deck profile. That rounds up everything that we're running. Total of 15 card extra deck and a 40 card main deck, 55 cards in all. So I hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile, and I guess that's it. So this is AscendantV, now signing off.